catch that? They were shooting at a barrel that said hipster coffee on it. We've got the founder and CEO of Black Rifle Coffee Company. He's taking on Starbucks. Now, you'll remember the story. We brought it to you. Starbucks is pledging to hire 10,000 refugees in protest of President Trump's executive order. However, Black Rifle now says it's going to hire 10,000 veteran soldiers instead. Black Rifle Coffee Company founder and Army veteran himself, Evan Hafer, joins me now. What did you think of Starbucks' move?
Well, basically, I looked at it as purely political, so they're almost trolling the executive office to a certain degree. So we made the conscious effort to kind of shift the conversation back to something that was very important to us, specifically our subculture, my tribe. There are 2.5 million veterans nationally that have served post 9/11. So we've been at war roughly 16 years. You've got a substantial amount of veterans that are out of work or underemployed. And we want to shift the conversation back to the things that hit closer to home. For us, this is kind of, when you're trolling the executive office, for a lack of a better term, I really just want to center the conversation on something that we feel is a little bit more important.
Yeah, Howard Schultz of Starbucks supported Hillary. And he's saying,
of course.
I mean, Starbucks has been actively hiring veterans,
right.
800 to be exact, but way more workers. And how many of your current workers are veterans?
What I like to say is big companies, publicly traded companies, they support veterans mainly as a PR. However, we hire veterans because it's who we are, which is a huge difference. You know, he's got over 200,000.
How many of your workforce?
Over 50%, so we're sitting at right over 50 veterans hired so far. We have almost 70, complete count of our employees, we've got 70 employees. I actually hired 12 people today.
Wow.
So we're really concerned with kind of the conversation or the narrative in America right now with this 90-day or 120-day ban. Specifically, we don't see it as racist. It's about the country and how porous the regulation is in order to push people into the country. However, we're concerned with the narrative in the sense of when you have companies, big companies, making political statements that quite literally are somewhat arbitrary because they're basically mad that the executive office didn't go the way that they wanted it to. So for us, it's bringing that back home. This is really about hiring veterans, and we want to shift that conversation back. And I've set this out for my employees, my entire company. This is a big goal for me. You know, I have 70 employees, like we're talking about. So for me to grow to 10,000 over the next 6 years, it takes a team. So I've been working with a former 3-star general for the last several months.
How are they as workers, veterans?
My employees? Oh, they're the most amazing employees on the planet. But you have to realize that military men and veterans, men and women both, we have a unique way of communicating in the sense of I know my subculture better than anyone because I've got 20 years of service between the private side and also the military. I was a former Green Beret. And for us, we communicate differently in the sense of the way that we interact. We can get things done. And the reason I love hiring veterans is not because of the communication, it's because of the initiative. They've also been in really hard spots. So they're not afraid to roll up their sleeves and go to work. And my big thing of this challenge is to incorporate all companies to set out a goal to hire veterans. I'm a small company, I'm a growing business, but this is a huge task, right? This is the equivalent of climbing Everest. But if somebody didn't say they'd go out and climb Everest, it wouldn't be climbed.
That's a good point. You just started 2 years ago. You're growing 9-fold. You're in 200 retailers.
Yep.
And domestically, 250 internationally. And you were about to say that, Howard Schultz at Starbucks has hired tens of thousands of people, right? And
for sure, 200,000.
200,000.
Yeah.
So if you were to sit down with him today, what would you say to him?
I think that a person has to be accountable, especially for a publicly traded company. And if you're going to alienate a huge portion of your market, you really have to be prepared to just give them away. What I'd like to say is, if you don't want your conservatives to buy coffee from you, please just tell them to walk down the street and buy Black Rifle Coffee. Because I'm openly conservative, I'm openly pro-2A, I'm openly veteran. Conservatives will always find a home, and I will take care. I will bend over backwards.
Okay. Evan Hafer, Black Rifle Coffee founder and CEO. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.